Good afternoon, everybody. We got a loquat back here at Make, just enjoying a little bit of sun. And we've got more things to put in the ground this week, which I'm really looking forward to, but I'm also just really excited that a couple of these little loquats held on. I've spotted a couple of them around underneath the aloes where I planted them. Let's see if we can't find another one. They're taking their sweet time. Hold on. There it is. I don't know if that even shows up, but it's right there. Tram. But yeah, as far as some updates from last video, we've had some success on the seeding front. The castor bean has come up. I think we had a total of 3 of them germinate so far. They're pretty hardy in this dry weather, so I imagine if I water these lines again by the time I'm here next week, they'll be back, or there will be more up, so that could be cool. And what else is new? Finally, some new green growth on the eucalyptus. Of course, only one survived, but that's okay. I've got some more in pots that are just starting to put on a little bit of growth, which means they've got some root activation as well. And then let me flip the camera around just a second. This is what I'm really happy about. The 3 almond leaf willows have started to put on some serious growth. I mean, this one has totally taken off. And then our happy little African blue basil are all doing really well, especially this little fellow right here. So a lot of good news. Things are starting to move in the right direction, and we've got some more things to get in the ground today, so I'll go over it. I've been taking cuttings, which is how I've made all of these African blue basil from a plant I have at home. So we've got 5 more that are ready to go in the ground, which means we're getting close to this one tree line being more or less, I wouldn't say filled in, but structured. I've got some more of those willows coming along right now. They've just got up potted from their cuttings that I was just rooting in water. I think just last week I up potted them. So they'll be ready to come down here soon, and we'll have one there, and one there, mirroring that other side. And of course, we'll continue to fill in down these lines as well. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been here, but the aloes that we got planted in this line are holding on. Some of them were just suckers, so they might struggle to get off to as strong of a start as everything else. You know, we may even lose that one, but aloes are pretty hardy in these conditions, so I'm sure there will be some bounce back. But what else? What do we have that's going in the ground today? I've got, well, may look mostly like amaranth and yellow Swiss chard, but we've got 3 rosemaries in here from cutting that are doing, well, this one's doing really well. This one, on the other hand, seems to be trying to outrun its own death, putting on new growth up top, dying off on the other side. But we've only got 3 of those. Those were my first time trying to root rosemary cuttings, and it definitely took a lot longer than I was expecting, but the success rate was, I mean, it was okay. I probably got 1/3 of my cuttings, maybe less, root, and a couple died off after they rooted as well. So maybe I was just taking the wrong kind of wood, like first year, second year, third year growth. So I'm gonna take another look at that. And then over here on the corner, pretty exciting, we've got a tray of, what was this, glass gem popcorn. So it's really pretty, and this is actually some stuff that I've been seed saving from growing in my own home garden over the last couple of years. And then we've got some Sorghum Sudan grass, which had its growth ever so slightly stunted. For those of you who have cats, you know how much they like grass, and so my cat Winnie decided he really wanted to give them a haircut a little bit prematurely, but I think they'll do just fine. These guys are going to be our emergence to get in here and start to shade some of the inner line. I've also got some white lead trees, which are sort of a Mediterranean legume. So we're gonna try and get some of those in here today. There's actually some acorns in with them, or some coastal oaks. Maybe they're black oaks, I can't remember exactly, but they're going to, well, we'll see. I'm of two minds whether or not I plant them just yet, but I might not have much of an option. So I'm gonna get some of this done and I will check back in with you guys after. All right, we got our first African blue basil here. It's rooted pretty nicely, and in the ground we go. I think that'll be sitting nice and happy right there. And here we have really the best of the three rosemaries. Already got the others in the ground along with their sort of companion amaranth, the Swiss chard volunteers. But in the ground we go. And I'm gonna go grab a little bit of compost to mix in with the native soil. Finally, give them a little drink. It is pretty warm out here today, but I think they'll do just fine. One of the few advantages to working in clay soil is once it's wet, it stays pretty wet. Let's see, does anybody else want a quick drink? Maybe I'll help our little aloes along the way as well, now that I have the chance. I think I placed more of those castor seeds in here too, so maybe they'll pop up with a little extra help. So, just wrapping up for the day. Guess we'll go over just what we finished here. Got the basils in the ground, the rosemaries are in the ground, and then I went through and started with, I think we'll call it a bit of an experiment. I got my order of operations a little out of whack, but we got our sorghum in the ground on a little bit of a 2x2 grid through 1, 2, 3 of the tree lines. So these 3 behind me. And I had originally intended on getting the irrigation sorted on those first, but I was out sick for a week. I haven't been down to the farm in 2 weeks, so I'm a little bit scrambled, but well, if it doesn't work, I've still got a whole pound of seed and I can do it again. Obviously doing it once is preferable, but it is what it is. I think overall I'm pretty pleased with how things are starting to come along in spring. We've got more plants to put in the ground over the next couple of weeks. We didn't end up getting that lead tree in the ground, but that's not too much of a problem. I only had 3 down here and needed to figure out what to do with those young oak trees that are kind of mixed in with that same planting. So for another day. Another thing I did was quickly map out, just by dragging my foot through the mulch, sort of what I want this space to look like. Yes, of course, we're going for production. We want this to be a productive space. But again, remembering this is a very people-oriented space. There's lots of camps with young kids. It's a work experience training program. And so building out the space with a little bit of a permaculture framework in mind, sort of how can we adapt the space for people. It was important that we have a pathway that meanders through the entire space. And then we want to kind of get to a point where we're able to use plants as green infrastructure to create an outdoor room walled with various trees and shrubs as an education space or a play space. And so that'll be really cool if we are able to slowly make our way towards that. Path then meanders sort of back around over to our compost system. And it's nice to get this laid out. I had sort of done a rough sketch of it before, and this, albeit, is also a rough sketch. But knowing, you know, where I'm going to be planting, so I don't end up planting something where we're going to want foot access. But also, it kind of opens up the space. It makes me realize, okay, well, I've got 2 tree lines here, and sure, I've got my sprinkler or my irrigation. Looks like I ran out of storage there, so I'll have to be quick. But like I was saying, we got our 2 tree lines here. There's one path on the far side. We got the path reconnecting right down by my feet here. But it's a nice open space. Maybe we can plant it with some sort of productive annual or maybe even a perennial crop. We'll see what there is to work with. But that's pretty much it for this week. Time to head home. Thanks for watching, and now that I'm getting used to the whole YouTube life, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I'd love to hear from you, and I will be responding to anything that's out there. So you guys have a great rest of your day.